This is update for August 21, 2022, day 179 of the war, and of the date update. Just general update, just overview of the military situation is that the alleged Russian offensive that started yesterday didn't gain much traction so far, based on the results that we're seeing on the front lines. So this is just a quick summary of what's going on. Now let's actually jump quickly into the walk through the front line. As always, we're gonna start from the north and go in a clockwise fashion down. So first of all, situation along the state border is, let's say, a little bit more quieter than usually. That's just a quick update here. Now let's move to Kharkiv area. Here, essentially nothing is going on. Everything is more or less stable at this point. As we discussed, the whole point here is, for Russian side, is to create buffer to protect Belgorod, which is like about 30-40 kilometers away from Russian-Ukrainian border. They are not trying to capture Kharkiv here, so this is just a sort of local tactical fighting essentially. Now let's move down south to Izyum bridgehead. Since here kind of more or less stable, but there are Russian attacks continue, so there are sort of kind of three areas. One is this direction, kind of like towards Barvinkovo here. Then there's another one here around Korulka. And then there is sort of distraction, call it attacks here in typical areas, which essentially this is an attempt to keep Ukrainian troops in this area and not so the Ukrainian command cannot transfer those troops to the threatened areas here near Karnauhivka in Vernopile and then near here Pashkovka in kind of like this forest here. So that's essence here, nothing new though. But apparently Russian command is trying to sort of revive the idea what we discussed about the northern and southern pincer, but so far without much success. Now let's move to North Donbas section of the front line. Here attacks were a lot fewer today. Typical area Ivanodarivka without any success. Attacks at Soledar also without much success. No attacks at Bakhmut here. A little bit more well, I guess relatively pretty much also quiet in south. Now like more frontal attacks towards this Kadema village, where this is kind of essentially Ukrainian salient, but definitely sort of quieter day. We believe it's just some kind of regrouping of Russian troops here. Now let's move down south to area front line straight west of Donetsk. So here the same idea as before. Russian troops are trying to encircle Avdiivka or create a threat of encirclement and force withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from Avdiivka. No success here from this, call it northeastern direction. Essentially not much success here near Pesky, near village Pesky. Just want to mention that essentially at this point Russian troops managed to breach through main Ukrainian defense line here. Ukrainian troops still holding on the line. Nevertheless, the main line has been breached, but let's actually look a little bit more in detail what's going on here. This is this line near village Pesky. So this is village Pesky. So the front line was kind of like going where you see this kind of shaded red area. So as you can see, Russian troops kind of breached through that. And the main stronghold was actually village Pesky. So at this point, situation here in the north remains more or less stable. Russian troops basically managed to get to this road M30. Ukrainian troops controlling village Opetne, which is again strongholds, and Vodyane. Russian troops trying to attack without much success. Then Russian troops kind of trying to sort of initiate fighting for this village Pervomaisky. They didn't manage to penetrate Ukrainian defenses, more or less stable. What the Russian troops did manage to sort of gain control of all of this area where you can see kind of like south of Nevelske, like this whole area where I'm showing. So this was kind of where Russian troops managed to gain control. Nevelske is still in Ukrainian hands because yesterday I was not 100% sure, so just want to confirm. As of August 21, Nevelske was still in Ukrainian hands, so Russian troops are continuing attacks there. So that's the essence of their advance. This is basically Russian troops managed to kind of clear this territory here. Now let's move. This is how it looked actually yesterday, as you can see. So this is the area that was kind of where Russian troops managed to gain control. This kind of like triangle between Pesky and then south of Nevelske and this kind of area. Now let's move a little bit more sort of let's just look at the situation near Marinka. This was another area of attack, which is also typical area of attacks. So there was a slight change. So there was typical attack towards Marinka, but then also there was attack slightly south of Marinka, or like south of this road, kind of like a circular road of Donetsk here. So there was attack here. This could be pretty sort of dangerous attack if it's successful. It wasn't successful because it really creates probably unbearable situation for Ukrainian troops in Novomykhailivka, which is a large stronghold and forced withdrawal. And basically this whole sort of southern, this whole area where I'm showing was the cursor is gonna be lost essentially, and that really threatens then Marinka because it's gonna be open from the southern flank, and Russian troops will try to attack from the southern side where there is no strong defensive positions and there's no entrenched positions there. It was relatively quiet here between Pavlivka, Volhedar and Novosilka, this sort of chain of Ukrainian strongholds along this road here. Now let's actually move west. Let's just quickly check the Zaporizhzhia front line. Here was actually everything is quiet, so there's no more attempts by Russian troops to sort of create this southern pincer and breach through Ukrainian defenses here near Zolota Neva. But remains to be seen if something continues here or not. The whole point here is it's being unknown about the reserves of on the Russian side. There are some reserves that were formed from each region. We spoke about them some time ago, probably months ago or less, that each region is supposed to contribute a battalion to sort of refill Russian ranks. Many regions did not sort of contribute. Many regions contributed like battalion that's like 300, 400 soldiers strong, which is obviously not really refilling the ranks fully. And the most important part that this call it sort of this units that each region forms, they are more reminding of Ukrainian militia during the initial phase of the war, meaning low skill, low initiative, low motivation type of units, kind of like a forced conscripts in many ways. And so we don't think that that's really solving problem. Not to mention that, let's say, it's probably going to give Russian troops about 15,000 people, maybe even less, maybe even 10,000. So really not moving needle. And so this is kind of like known part of sort of equation, which is the unknown part of the equation. Is there more motivated troops on the Russian side? That's we believe there is none, but we don't see the sort of cards of the Russian command. They could be surprised. Now let's jump to Kherson bridgehead. So things here actually not sort of going well for Ukrainian side. Russian troops managed to penetrate, create attack. The goal is to cut this road that goes from Snigurivka to Mykolayiv, slightly east of village Pervomaisky, which is on this road. There is village Blagodatne. We don't see it due to the size of the map, but essentially Russian troops managed to capture southern part of that village where they were finally stopped. So as you can see, they managed to penetrate Ukrainian defenses here, and this is all goes back to the discussion or question about effectiveness of destroying Russian logistics and essentially depleting Russian forces of their artillery ammunition supplies and fuel supplies. As you can see, this apparently does not work. We had initially very big doubts. We believe that the right approach is really destroying Russian artillery, the crews. That's the sort of linchpin. That's the most important part, is a trained artillery crews, and that is the focus was actually on these attacks against their ammunition depots and fuel depots and so on, and bridges. But it does not create enough problems for Russian side, and they probably learn how to address it by distributing their supplies. And so, as you can see, there is this attack here, which kind of proves this whole strategy that there was misguided strategy in the first place. So hopefully there are changes on Ukrainian side, but so far that's the outcome. And if you remember, there was actually initial frontal attack from Snigurivka bridgehead, kind of like leading along this road towards Mykolaiv. It wasn't successful. It was about 2 weeks ago. So Russian, as you can see, Russian command is also learning from the mistakes. So now I try to attack from the flank, and that's where they managed to gain success here. The reason for this attack is still somewhat unclear. The best explanation we have is that Russian troops want to kind of create basically another supply for this bridgehead. If we just kind of split this one big bridgehead in this more like kind of like western bridgehead and this eastern part of the bridgehead. So this bridge here over in Hulets is essentially destroyed. Antonivsky Bridge severely damaged. Probably railroad bridge is damaged too. So they want to have like kind of like more another guaranteed supplies through Snigurivka, and so they want to push Ukrainian to kind of create a buffer zone here to push Ukrainian troops as far as possible, so they don't rely on this almost destroyed bridges, and they can use this probably bridge here at Snigurivka, and there's basically there's more reliability in supply. This is the best explanation. Potentially there's something more at play here. We're just trying to understand ourselves what's going on here. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and until tomorrow, bye bye.